We go from humble to flexing, you DM, I'm texting, she hit me right back. I'm on the move, I'm not stressing, the king to these peasants, you know that's a fact. Y'all hate the press, y'all elect him, a press for 11, I gave him a stack. I use these words as my weapon, a demon the session, we killing the pack. We go from humble to flexing, you DM, I'm texting, she hit me right back. I'm on the move, I'm not stressing, the king to these peasants, you know that's a fact. Y'all hate the press, y'all elect him, a press for 11, I gave him a stack. I use these words as my weapon, a demon the session, we killing the pack. We slaying witches and demons, making a list like I'm Steven. This ain't the Garden of Eden. Playing this game, it's not even. I come with soldiers and legions. That is my name that you speaking. All of y'all live for the weekend. I don't know what you believe in. Y'all got the diamonds and I got the rubies. She rocking the two-piece and look like a snack. Stay out of trouble, but I got a new scheme. I'm sipping on wine while they sipping on that. I done told y'all if I see it, I cop it. You see what we rockin', we drippin' all black. You being off, you seen this deposit. We brought a few bags and there's more in the back. I got riches storing up in heaven. I'm a big gorilla. I got ape aggression. Young and jaded like an adolescent. I'm slightly faded like an evanescent.
What's up? Welcome to the show.
On the East Coast, you better come through because we stay progressing. If you roll with us, you better unpack before God teaches you an eternal lesson. Roll with me, you're gonna learn something. Roll with me, you're gonna earn some. We in the forest like we Fern Gully. If it's feeling off, I discern some. Clean hearts, but we stay muddy. Too smart, but we stay study. Staying face, cause we too ugly. All these jokers think they too funny. We go from humble to flexing, you DM, I'm texting, she hit me right back. I'm on the move, I'm not stressing, the king to these peasants, you know that's a fact. Y'all hate the press, y'all elect him, a press for 11, I gave him a stack. I use these words as my weapon, a demon the session, we killing the pack. We go from humble to flexing, you DM, I'm texting, she hit me right back. I'm on the move, I'm not stressing, the king to these peasants, you know that's a fact. Y'all hate the press, y'all elect him, a press for 11, I gave him a stack. I use these words as my weapon, a demon the session, we killing the pack.
Yeah. Time to make gains, it's time to make gains.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testing, 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 test, 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 testing, 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 test, 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 testing, 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 testicles, a testicles, a testicles. Welcome everyone to episode 1089 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beardcast, broadcast, gangcast, mancast, pimpcast, sleazecast, and as a slaycast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. What's going on, my beaches? What is up, my booshes? It's your boy, Papa Swolio, Papa Sleazio, Papa Scoliosis, apparently to spell correct on iPhones. I don't know why it keeps on insisting that I am Papa Scoliosis, but I get lots of messages saying, hey, Papa Scoliosis, I got a question. I'm like, my posture is great. I have great posture. I doth not have scoliosis. But thank you, Apple, for trying to insist to the world that I have scoliosis. So that's exciting. What's the topic? It's in the pinned post, the pinned comment right there on Instagram. So take your eye holes and fucking look at it. Look at it. It's pinned. It says the topic. What's the topic? Look at the fucking title. Holy shit. Is that the start that we're going to have, everyone? Is that the start that we're having to the show? I guess it is. We're going to start without reading. Open your eyes, people. Open your eyes and absorb the gains. Open the fucking eyes. Open your eye holes. Open your eye holes. It's all good, though. It's all good. I'm fucking with you, but I'm not fucking with you. It's literally right there. It's literally right there. I think I might just do the entire episode just talking about how the title is right fucking there. I go above and beyond to put the title and pin it on Instagram and to put it on the screen where else I stream. What I do for you. I'm just kidding. We're all jabronis now and again. Anyway, no, don't start over. No, the rage is good. No, keep it going. What else do we have to do today? What else is so important? Nothing's so important. There's no reason to do anything else than what we're doing. What are we going to talk about today? There's nothing else to talk about. 1,089 episodes. What else are we going to discuss? Want to talk about losing belly fat some more? You want to talk about losing some belly fat? Should we talk about that? You fucking pussies. Should we talk about that? Should we talk about how you're not eating right? Should we talk about cheat meals? Should we talk about getting rid of that fat around your thighs and the underarm fat? Should we talk about that? Should we talk about your hormone imbalance? Should we talk about those toxins that you're consuming? I'm just fucking with you. Ooh. Miss Carrie, Brandon Carter blocked me on Instagram because I called him out. What'd you call him out for? For being a piece of shit? If you didn't catch that video that I posted on YouTube, Brandon Carter is someone, unfortunately, in the fitness industry, and he was selling his shit by pretty much calling men gay if they didn't buy his program and calling people bitches and pussies. It was pretty bad. So I raged on him. Did you call him out on that? Oh, you called him a piece of shit and he blocked you. Well, that makes sense. How do you work out your toe muscles? Well, that's a great question, Jared. That's actually the topic of today is toe muscles. Those toe cocks. Biking and gains. What are you doing today? What are you training today? John? Oh, hell yeah. My ear pussies are ready to receive that meaty, swollen knowledge cock. Wow. Shall we stop right there? I don't think we have to go on after a comment like that. You know you're dropping a great podcast. You know you have a great live show when your audience volunteers a sentence like this. Oh, hell yeah. My ear pussies are ready to receive that meaty, swollen knowledge cock. This is the greatest podcast in the history of organisms. Darwin is in his grave like, fuck yes. Survival of the gains. That was awesome. Excellent. That's a great start. That's the start of the podcast. You launched us. I am more than happy to give credit where credit's due. I am more than it is my pleasure to give credit when credit's due, especially with an amazing comment like that. Oh, you can't stick around. Bummer. We'll catch you later. We'll catch you on the flip. What's excellent is this podcast is available everywhere, right? Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Do you all that watch live, where do you listen to the podcast? I'm sure a lot of you can't catch it live every day because it depends on what time I go live. Where do you listen? Let's do a little survey. Let's get a little survey going. Where do you listen to the podcast? I think the vast majority of people, I'm guessing, are Apple Podcasts. But do we have Spotify people out there? Do we have Google people? The weird Android users? Do we have the freaks? Are we bringing in the freaks, the Android freaks? I'm just kidding. I used to have an Android. I still film some of my videos with my old Android. I still film some of my videos, some of my content with my old Android phone. It's just the hardware on those phones are just so much better than Apple. So much better in terms of the camera and shit. It's so much better. So much better. Pocket Cast. I haven't heard of some of these. I guess my podcast is available on Pocket Cast and Podcast Addict. Haven't even heard of that one either. Castbox on Android. Man, how do you all find these things? What brings you to something called Castbox as opposed to Spotify? You just like these third-party things, or it's free or something? AntennaPod versus via RSS link. What the fuck? You guys are going fringe. I like this. Or some Facebook only, mostly live. Google if I miss it. Facebook and YouTube for older ones. If you're going back in the archives on YouTube, all of them are the older ones. I think from 700 and before were all on the YouTube channel, the main channel. Now it's all on the Daily Swole podcast channel. So the podcast, or this is still live on YouTube. It's just on the Daily Swole podcast channel. That's another chance for me to remind you, if you want to watch it live on YouTube, you have to subscribe to the second channel, which is cool. I'd appreciate that. And Twitch too. I still stream on Twitch. I think Twitch is going places. And if it doesn't, well, I'm going to go nowhere with it, but I stream on Twitch. I do it. Oh, you catch me on Pornhub? No doubt. Yeah, I stream on Pornhub too. That's right. Well, that's actually that's where you get the ball cam. You get the ball cam right here. You think I'm only streaming with one live cam, with one webcam. Not true. I have one right under the table, and I stream that one to Pornhub. So you get the audio from Pornhub, but you just stare at my sack the whole time. So that's the Pornhub stream. I don't put that publicly because I get pulled offline really quick. So sorry. I can't please everyone everywhere. So Pornhub peeps, what up? I'm sorry, hold on. Yo. Yeah, they see me. The nut cam, the ball cam. Papa, I will try not to shit post so much today. Thank you. I'm always a fan of the nice baby wipe posts. F Droid is where I downloaded the antenna pod. Okay. All right. So cool. All right. I learned stuff today. Today I've been learning some things. So new YouTube video about the weakening of the species. I love this approach. I really do think that gym leggings are weakening the species. We might not see it in the short term, but long term, oh yeah, it's getting crafty. So brand new YouTube video up on, guess where, my YouTube channel, and new stuff coming every single day. Got more shit coming tomorrow. Got a lot of stuff to say. It's just a matter of getting out more fucking videos. I wish YouTube was more, I could post more often. I do one a day. That's what I've been doing lately. That seems to be a good amount, because I remember in the past when I first started posting a long time ago, I was posting so much stuff, live broadcasts, and it was just, no one was seeing what I was posting. I was posting too much. So I got a lot to say. So there's a lot of shit dropping on YouTube. So I can't speak more highly enough of what's coming. So make sure you're subscribed over there. Let's see. What else is good for this week? Today's Tuesday, just posted up in the private Facebook group. So those of you that are Swolenormous X members, we have a program design masterclass Thursday at 12 noon. So of course, if you can catch it live, it's going to stay on the timeline in the private Facebook group, but it's also going to be on the website, and that's going to be for Swolga. It's going to be for the new mobility Swolga section. I'm going to break that down and explain more how you can implement that along with your training and what you're customizing. So we'll do Q&A as well, but I'm going to break down all those new releases. So those of you that are in X, you have that to look forward to. Make sure you respond to that event post in Swolenormous X. Today's topic is your genetic game. What do you think? Let's start this off with a question. Let me start this off with a question to all of you. What are your thoughts on genetics in terms of fitness? How much of a role do you think genetics play? Let's preface this episode and let's preface this topic by making it clear that no one really knows completely how much of an impact genetics have. We are just scratching the surface when it comes to genetic research, let alone something as mainstream and something as widespread and as bio-individualized as nutrition and training genetics. We're learning about genetics in terms of diseases and trying to create vaccines and all those things. But when it comes to the impact, it's very hard, right? This is just opinion. We're literally going to be talking about opinions today. I am not a geneticist. I am not claiming to know everything about genetics. I am aware of what I am aware of, and we'll discuss like the philosophy and my experience with genetics and what we can all agree on. And I think there's some areas with genetics and fitness that we can agree on just by observation, common sense, and what we've all seen. You don't have to be a scientist to understand that people are different. We know naturally people are different. Some people are 6'5", some people are 4'5", and that's of no choice. That's not because of training. That's not because of nutrition on their part. Maybe there's something to do with their parents' nutrition, but there's obviously recessive genes. It's very complicated, okay? And like I mentioned, I'm no expert, so apologies if I get something wrong or if I miss one section of the topic. As you can imagine, it's a very complicated thing. There's also a field of study called epigenetics, right? The process of turning some of these gene sequences on or off. So you have also things like predisposition to diseases, whereas you might have a gene sequence that might predispose you or put you at greater risk if that gene sequence, quote, activates. So certain environmental factors, it could be diet, it could be exercise, it could be some type of other stress or something else comes in, turns on that gene sequence over time, however that fucking works, and that person might acquire or have a higher risk of certain types of cancers. Okay, so there's a certain process in which genes can be turned on or off. And again, they're learning. They're learning about this. And first, when you get into the science and when they study this, scientists don't just go and study about fitness. They're looking for other things. The money that it takes to do genetic research is astronomical. So you can imagine that most of this research and most of this stuff is funded by these big pharmaceutical companies. It's funded by these charities. I say charities, but you can imagine those that do cancer research, those that do Alzheimer's research, and those that do these types of genetic diseases. That's generally a good place to start doing this type of research, because you can observe, okay, this is what's different for someone that has this issue from birth as opposed to someone who does not have this issue. We notice this pattern, we notice this chunk of genetics or DNA, we notice this, and then they can try to extrapolate that to what it means and what can be changed and what can be altered. So we're looking at this from the outside. Nutrition science, like I mentioned before, is very, very new, and we don't have a lot of information. There's so much bio-individuality, and there's so many variables that it's very, very challenging, if not impossible, to account for all of them when you do any of these studies. That's why a lot of these studies come from an epidemiological standpoint, where they just do observational and they do generalizations and they try to extrapolate data from just all the data. However, that data gets blurred, and a lot of times these correlations get blown out of proportion in magazines and in articles, and people start posting about it on Instagram, and the information gets forgotten. The actual source of the information gets forgotten when you start writing books, when you start doing documentaries, and all these things get a lot of traction because they're attractive. They are big movies with color and sound, and there are articles and there's dynamics, and it's interesting to observe, and it's understandable to us. And we understand when we watch a movie, when we read a book, when we listen to a podcast. But when you read a scientific study, or you're going through 500 epidemiological studies, your eyes will bleed out of your fucking skull. You'll get so confused and lost. It's very easy to misinterpret that data, or to use specific portions of data to fit your cause. And that's where we have these documentaries, right? We have the vegan documentaries and those types of biases. And it goes both ways. You could find research and find information that fits what you're trying to say. That's why when I talk about nutrition, I try to bring everyone together in a circle. Huddle up here, fam, and let's talk about how we can all improve our nutrition together the same way, but then go our separate ways, like a tree. Why can't we all start where the roots are, go up the tree trunk? Why can't we start with the same fundamentals about approaching our nutrition with a different mindset? And then as we get up to the branches, then we kind of separate, right? Some people want to be a vegan for moral reasons. Some people want to, or gravitate more towards a high-fat diet. They like ketosis. Some people like paleo. Some people like pescatarian. They're not a big fan of meat. It doesn't react as well to their body. Fine. Why don't we start together with the elimination? Why don't we start together focusing on the quality of the foods, and then we can branch off into other types of management, caloric management, nutritional lifestyles, macro planning. Those come after the quality. The quality should come first. And that's where I always try to come and clarify, because you might be coming into my content where I'm saying, fuck all your supplements, fuck your calories, fuck your macros, you fucking bitches, blah. I'm getting your attention because that's a general concept to shake things up, to get you thinking a little differently. But then when you get into my content and we start discussing it more from a practical matter, it's not just fuck that, fuck that, fuck that, do what you want. It's simple. That's vague too. But the approach is very simple. My approach, and it's so simple, it almost doesn't seem like an approach. It almost seems that it can't work because there isn't some fancy name attached to it. There isn't some fancy supplement attached to it. There isn't some quick fix attached to it. It's, we're going to approach our nutrition with common sense. We're going to approach our training with common sense. We're going to approach it from the basics. We're going to focus on the basics first. That doesn't sound sexy. People don't like the basics. If I said, hey, I got this great beginner program for you, no one's going to want to do it. I don't want a beginner program. Even if you are a beginner, you want something, you don't want to be a pussy. You don't want to be thinking, I don't want it to be too easy. Everyone wants to be advanced. Everyone wants to be an expert. Everyone wants to do the flips. Everyone wants to do the fancy calisthenic exercise they see on Instagram. Everyone wants the top. Everyone wants the top. Everyone wants to jump and skip. It's like Super Mario Brothers, right? Everyone wants to skip to the next level. Everyone wants to get in that pipe, that time warp, or that level warp and go to level 9. Everyone wants to skip. Everyone wants to skip ahead. Well, there's no skipping ahead. You can't miss levels. You can't skip these checkpoints. Otherwise, you're going to fall flat on your face. You're not going to get the results you want, and you're going to try to get and do things unhealthily. You're going to try to cut corners. You're going to skip ahead, or you're going to try to skip ahead, and it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you with your health. It's going to cost you with your results. It's not going to turn out well. And you've seen that a lot. People depend on supplements. They depend on these quick challenges. They try to do these quick shreds. They try to cut corners. They try to get there faster. And there is no getting there faster. There just straight isn't. Anyone that tells you that there is just full of shit. All right. And I keep on seeing on Instagram stories, I keep on getting sent the more videos I make about jabronis and people that are falsely marketing eat whatever you want, eat this garbage. I keep on getting these messages that people are sending me, showing me more and more people, hey, eat this pizza, eat this so you can do it. You can't lose weight without eating junk food. People have been getting in shape for a long time without eating garbage and eating junk food. That's not true. That's a marketing ploy. That's a marketing method while you're over there taking TRT and growth hormone and you're a fucking fitness model saying you can eat whatever you want. You're swindling people. You're not being authentic. You're not being transparent. You're not really explaining what you're doing on your end. You're making something catchy in order to get people to buy your product, in order to get people to sign up for your shit. And my content, I'm trying to be the beacon of light. However, I'm not trying to have an ego about it like I have all the answers, but I want you to think about your fitness and your training differently. And the genetics do play a role. They do play a role. That's why we all look different. That's why some of us are black, some are white, we have all types of people, tall, short, we have people that are just, broader shoulders, everything. We have every different subtle change. And what we lose is the mindset of maximizing our own personal genetics, and we get distracted trying to get someone else's genetics. Now, that's not going to happen. And from everything from limb length, from muscle belly tie-ins, how long your muscle bellies are. Some people have very short muscle bellies. So when they flex, their bicep balls up a lot. They're trying to work the lower portion of the bicep to have a fuller bicep. You can't really always change that. You might be able to work on it a little bit, but you're going to have your limitations, right? The shapes of the muscles, the lengths of the limbs, those things you're not going to be able to change. Those are your genetics. The way your nose looks, right? How far your eyes are apart. Right now, like my hair color, like my hairstyle, of course, my hair is long. I could cut it shorter, but my hair grows like this. Not everyone has, I have a lot of fucking hair and I have long hair, and that's not to brag. Some people don't care. They like short hair. They like to shave their head, but I didn't choose this. Everyone asks me, like, what do I do to my beard? I just don't shave it. I do condition my skin and stuff like that, but my facial hair grows like this. It just does. So just because if you ate the same way I do, and if you do the same things I do, it doesn't mean you're going to grow hair like this. It's just the way I am. Those are genetics. And I think they play a larger role when it comes to fitness and training than people realize. Everyone wants to think it's because you can take it the wrong way. You can take it the wrong way. If you say that, oh, it's genetics, you can get very depressed about it. Like, oh my God, so I'm never going to get great results because genetics. And then you tend to blame genetics. And that's not cool. You start to blame genetics for your shortcomings, and that's a very escapist way of not dealing with the issue and not trying to get the best version of yourself. You can blame genetics. And this is not to make, you don't want the blame game. You want to avoid the blame game because that just makes an excuse, and that makes you just sound like a little bitch. Because you can't change that. No one can change that. I can't change what I have, and you can't change what you have. And that doesn't mean that you would change it if you could, but you have to work within your parameters. And not everyone, and I've made content like this before, not everyone is meant to squat 500 pounds. Not everyone is going to deadlift 500 pounds. Not everyone is going to have massive arms. Not everyone is going to have massive calves. Not everyone's going to have everything. Not everyone is meant to be extremely strong. Not everyone has the structure for it. Not everyone has the work ethic for it. There are a lot of components to getting extremely strong. There's a lot of components to building a lot of muscle mass. Not only is it beneficial to have a good genetic structure for it, have good muscle tie-ins to have that. On top of that, you need ridiculous work ethic. You need to be fucking relentlessly obsessed in achieving that goal and do so for years and decades. And how often do those combinations come about? So if you have great genetics and you have that work ethic, then you're going to see a lot of great progress. And then on top of that, if you're doing things, under the table like anabolics and steroids and shit, you can become what you see a lot of online. And you might not need as much as people might think because of your basic genetics, but you can't get wrapped up in that. Whether it's FFMI, whether it's body fat percentage, whether it's you can't use it as a crutch. You can't use it as a crutch. And that's how it's usually discussed. Oh, it's genetics. How much is fitness genetics? What if I say it's everything? Are you going to get depressed and not work out anymore because, oh, it's genetics? Maybe you're just not working hard enough. Maybe you're not getting results because you're just not working hard enough. You're not taking it seriously enough, which is more likely than genetics holding you back from getting everything you want. Right now, you're not getting the most out of your genetics. Neither am I. And you're definitely not either. You're not. You're not maximizing your genetics. You're not doing everything you possibly could, and you haven't been doing it as long as you possibly could have. You didn't start as early as you possibly could have. We're not perfect, period. And you don't know what that perfect is, so don't worry. You're not making a mistake. You just don't know what that perfect would have been, but you're not doing it. There's always something extra to do. There's always something else you could do. You could always be doing it for longer or better or cleaner or just more tight. You can always do better. So the pursuit of that is an endless pursuit. And that's really what is important. That's what will get you the most results, the endless pursuit. But you have to psychologically be ready for that endless pursuit. Otherwise, you're going to get pretty hung back, and you're going to feel pretty banged up and pretty at a loss for not getting results all the time. Because how do you measure that? How do you measure an endless pursuit? You don't. It's a very interesting way of thinking about it. And in a world where you're thrown a lot of numbers, you're thrown a lot of body weight and numbers with macros and weighing this and measuring this and weighing plates and how much are you lifting, 150, 160, 170, how much do you weigh, what's your body fat percentage, numbers, numbers, numbers. What gets you results are not the numbers. Okay? What gets you results is not the numbers. We measure everything in fitness with numbers. From body fat to how much you're lifting, everything is numbers. Day 1, day 2, day 3 of your program, right? How long's your rest period? 30 seconds, 45 seconds. Everything is numbers. Everything is numbers. How many times a week are you working every body part? Once or twice? Everything is numbers. Think about it. Everything is numbers. It's easy to organize. And there's nothing wrong with things being numbers. But then what happens is we measure our progress based on those numbers. And that's not what's getting us results. What's getting you results is what's upstairs. What's getting you results is not numbers. What's getting you results is understanding what those numbers represent and letting them be where they are, and working on those other aspects of yourself and your training and your consistency and your discipline, and those numbers will improve. But what gets you through that endless pursuit and that I'm never going to get there, you're never going to get there. If you are right now, you're listening to this, you're never going to get to your endpoint ever until you die. You're never done. You're never done. That's not necessarily the best way to set a goal, but that's the truth. When you look at goal setting, it's like, well, shit, how do you have a goal that's way too far away? You want to have a goal that's more in your vision. You want to have a more short-term goal. That's fine. I don't mind however you work. If you have a short-term goal, you have a goal that's a year out, 5 years out, 6 months out, 3 months, you can do all the goal setting and goal planning you want. If that's how you work and that's how your mind works, that's fine. But the truth of the matter is, it doesn't end until you die. It doesn't stop until that last breath. So all what you're doing over the long term has to have that kind of mindset. What are you doing now that's going to benefit you in the future? There are a lot of short-term benefits to exercise, and there are also long-term benefits to exercise. And how you organize your training now is going to relate to how you react and what you have to deal with and what you have to repair, what you have to fix, or what benefits you later on. That's why mobility, meditation, yoga, those types of practices are so important now to set that foundation. I get a lot of messages about tendinitis. I get a lot of messages about injuries and issues that people have from being in the military or just previous fitness injuries or just fucking injuries. People just get hurt. We get hurt for just living. We bend, we twist, we get banged up, we get into an accident, something happens. And those injuries will not go away. They're not going to get better on their own. But we don't want to wait, especially if they're preventable. Why wait for these injuries to arise? Why wait for these injuries to actually happen? Why don't we take these steps to prevent these injuries from happening in the first place? Why are we waiting until they occur? And then we're trying to work backwards. Then we're trying to fix it. Then we're trying to heal it. Because it's not set. You don't get a sick fucking pump doing yoga, right? Meditation doesn't sound sexy. A lot of guys don't think yoga is for guys. They think it's for chicks. A lot of people think, oh, I'm too hyper to meditate. I can't focus. You are the one that needs yoga. You're the one that needs meditation. If you think that you can't slow down, you can't focus, you're too hyper for it, you're the one that fucking needs it. That's exactly the definition of someone who needs it. That's the definition of someone. Anytime you feel like yoga is too slow or like you just can't slow down, you can't focus on it, you don't like being that still, you need it. You need it the most. That is the quickest way to tell if you feel like you can't handle it, if you feel like you can't slow down and you can't stop like that. If that's really challenging, you need it. If it's really challenging, you need it. That's a good thing because you're going to unlock a lot of shit when you practice. You unlock a lot of shit. I'll take some questions. Let's get some observe without judgment. Agreed. Fuck the numbers. Multiple goals are fine. Just be very careful when you're measuring goals. I just like to, as much as people love to talk about goal setting and accountability and all that's great, but I like to talk about your understanding of what your goals mean. I think a lot of people just set goals and set these, hey, I want to lose 50 pounds. Why? Well, because I'm, why? Why 50? You don't have to tell me. I'm just asking because I want to see if they know or what answer they give me. 50 is a random number. 100 pounds, notice how no one's like, I want to lose 56 pounds. It's always 75 pounds, 70 pounds. It's a flat, even number. It's a very arbitrary number. People just throw shit out there. People just make shit up. I need to lose 100 pounds. I need to lose 75 pounds. I'm trying to lose 20 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds. People just make shit up. They don't think twice. They just pick a number that sounds good and they have no idea what work that goes into it, the process, what that looks like, what that will end up being, if that's a good goal or not. People have no fucking idea. They just throw around numbers. And a lot of these numbers that people will try to sell you on are unrealistic. Lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks, like that Brandon Carter bullshit that I made a video on. Some other people are doing even more drastic stuff. When you cut carbs, you're going to lose water weight. If you have a ton of weight to lose, you can lose more in a shorter period of time because you have a lot extra. It's just common sense. It's just how you are observing your goals and how you relate to your goals and what your true satisfaction is going to come from. Because if you're depending on measuring your progress based on numbers, more often than not, it's going to be a negative rather than a positive. It's just not the right approach for most people, especially if it hasn't worked for you in the past. Daphne, one of my favorite daily swoles is Are You a Twat? Classics. I haven't listened to this episode yet, but I will. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see. We need to beat that little bitch inside us and realize it can be tamed. It can be, but if you think that just by changing your thoughts in one day, that it's easy, it's not easy. You have more thoughts in your brain all the time than you realize. So staying focused is important and understanding how to observe your thoughts and how to relate to your own thoughts. You can control. It's brain training. You'll train your body with exercise. You'll train it with yoga and practice. Meditation is psychological training. Meditation is brain training. It's getting everything upstairs organized. It's literally mental lifting. You're not doing work. You're just practicing. You're learning how your mind works and you're learning different concepts. And guided meditations are fantastic. And it only takes about 10 to 15 minutes of your day. You can do it longer. You can practice it more often, but it helps you be more mindful throughout the day and relate to these issues. And if you're managing your stress more, I always talk about cortisol and stress hormones and things that will keep you bloated and keep you storing extra body fat and water retention and things like that. When you're stressed, those levels are elevated. When you're not sleeping, stress goes up. When you're exercising, stress goes up. But it's not a bad response. It's a natural response. But when you shouldn't be stressed, you don't want to be stressed. And if you're psychologically stressed in traffic or with your relationships or with work or with something you're thinking about and you're all fucked up and twisted upstairs, it's going to perpetuate this imbalance and it's going to come out physically. It's going to come out how you feel and how you look. I mean, it's all connected. And understanding the connections and where that give and take is and giving yourself perspective on that is important. What do you think are the advantages of having short muscle bellies for training? Short or you mean full? The advantages? I don't know. Maybe more leverage depending on like tendon length. I think some people, right, with like really short muscle bellies in their calves, like black people, you got the really short calf bellies. You get a lot more explosiveness. I'm not sure if that's the same case around all body parts, but around the calves, it's usually when you have like shorter, longer tendons, you get a lot more that spring. You get a lot more speed in many cases. You have like low, thick, fat calves. You generally don't have the same type of explosive response. from what I've seen. Oh, good for you, James. My doc recently put me on rosuvastatin and fenofibrate for what they called a genetic disposition. I feel like crap when I put that shit in my body. I started Swolenormous X and started cleaning up my nutrition. Good for you, man. How is that going for you? How you been feeling? And how long has it been? Are you still taking it? For the record, I'm not telling anyone to stop taking their medication, but a lot of medications cause other things. They cause other side effects and weight gain and issues. So it's tough. It's tough because you want to trust where you go. You want to trust your doctor. You want to trust that what you're taking is going to help you get better. A lot of times it causes other problems. Some people gain a ton of weight when they take a medication. It's like, well, now I feel like shit because now I'm overweight. It's like, it's not helping me. It's taking the pain away over here, but now I gained 20 pounds. So now I feel like shit. James, I feel 1,000 times better than when I take the meds. Well, good for you, man. Good for you. You got to listen to your body. Papa, what's up, Liz? What up? What up? So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? If you're just coming in now, what are your thoughts on genetics? We'll continue this conversation. We'll have more content on this. Just a reminder, brand new YouTube drop today. So go check out the brand new YouTube drop on the Swolenormous YouTube channel. And also, Swolenormous X members, we have a masterclass Thursday at 12 noon Eastern time. And I'll stream live in the private Facebook group. So for those of you that want to learn more about Swolenormous X, we're releasing a brand new Swolga section for mobility. We're separating that out into a brand new section, a separate section. So that can get built out, and a ton of new recipes and stuff are being added to the kitchen this week. So all the ones that are already released, we're having a bunch more release, and that's going to be awesome as well. So Thursday we'll do that. Let's see. Jacob, goal is to thrive, not survive. Never-ending goal because you'll never run out of things you can change. It's always constant improvement. And that's, again, it comes from upstairs. It comes from your consciousness. It comes from what you're thinking of and what you're aware of and how you're viewing what happens in your day, how you observe what comes into your fucking sphere of existence. It sounds all foofy and in the air, but that's what everything is. Everything is foofy and in the air. Everything. But how you relate to your world and your surroundings and how you gauge your progress and how you think about your progress, that makes all the difference. So much of your progress is based on your perception of where you're going, what you're doing, and what you're doing it for. And if you approach your life and your training differently and you create that proper relationship with your food, it will clarify a lot of these issues that you're struggling with. If you get rid of the toxic people in your environment, you get rid of all this fucking dead weight in your own brain and around you, it will make a massive difference. Nathan, does genetics play a role? Do genetics play a role when your body breaks down as you get older? Probably. I have no fucking idea. When your body breaks down, I'm sure genetics have a role in everything, but to what extent, I don't know. And that's, again, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier in the podcast. There are so many variables. Like as you get older, think about all the things that can happen to you over the course of 60, 70, 80 years. What was your diet like for 80 years? What was your environment like for 80 years? What was your mobility like for 80 years? There are so many other things that do genetics override that? Or does your lifestyle override your genetics? And to what extent do each one of those things play? Because maybe you have certain genes that would turn on or activate and cause disease if you didn't exercise, and you did exercise. So your genetics could have predisposed you to it, but you exposed yourself to a different environment and different lifestyle that made those a non-issue for you. And like I said, I ain't no expert on genetics, and even geneticists are still learning about genetics. Like, we're learning a lot of shit, and I'm not saying I know everything about it. Absolutely fucking certainly do not. And that's why there's still science, because even people that are studying it don't know everything about it, which is exciting, but it's also the very beginning of it. So when you start getting into discussions with people about genetics, just remember what we're talking about. We're talking about fucking genetics. No one knows what the fuck is going on with that shit. No one knows yet. No one fucking knows. We're looking into it only recently. So don't think that you can just throw that. People throw those terms around like, oh, they know the answer. No, you don't. You fucking don't. Stop talking like you know. Stop Stop talking like you know. A DNA fitness test. Who knows? You can get your DNA and stuff done, and GNC will give you a supplement profile based on your genetics. Yeah, it's still early. It's still early to figure all that stuff out. But that's the future of real science. That's the future of real science and real health. Like, we're going to find out some more stuff. We're going to find out a lot of stuff in the upcoming decades, but it's still very brand new. So just don't hang your hat on it one way or the other. You know, just keep it in mind. But you can definitely start by pursuing things and approaching it the way we've been discussing in this podcast. It'll help a lot. Curious if the DNA fitness test is smoke and mirrors or legit results. It depends on what it's telling you. It could tell you facts like, oh, you have this, or this is this, but what you should do based on it, that might be just, who knows? I don't know exactly what they're studying or what they're telling you to do. But anyway, remember, you can go to swolenormousx.com and subscribe to the podcast. If you're not yet subscribed, you can check out the blog and also check out the Daily Swole Club and Swole Enormous X memberships if you're interested in joining and getting in time for the masterclass this week and the new releases. Again, those of you that are X members, masterclass, program design, mobility, and Swolga on Thursday, 12 noon Eastern time. So in the private group, you can catch that there. But we'll be here live tomorrow for episode 1090. And make sure you're following me on Instagram and YouTube, dropping a ton of content and brand new video on Instagram. A brand new IGTV video. It's in my feed, so go check it out. Let me know what you think. It's about breaking plateaus, and I think that might shake you up a little bit and help you make it through today on a Tuesday. So thank you so much for joining me for episode 1089 of the most muscular Swolecast, Beercast, Broadcast, Gamecast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Sleevescast, and Slaycast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. I'll see you tomorrow for 1090. Peace, McGee's fam. Deuce Magoose, ya boy, Papa Swolio. Out.